Do this video. What the fuck happened in the middle of the night? I had made some banana and strawberry smoothie, and I ain't never seen anything like this. As a matter of fact, I had a tiger bracelet that I swear I lost when I was out in the street. And next thing I know, I was looking for it. Well, not looking for it. I lost it like 2 weeks ago, and next thing I know, it mysteriously showed up in my sink water. You know, I use it to clean my whatchamacallit and all that. That's why I have it set up to clean my paper towels and all of that. With that being said, here it is right here. Found it right in there. With that being said, I felt compelled to do this video because I'm irritated with spiritually with what I'm fucking dealing with, and I ain't got no assistance, and I'm being told some shit about, oh, you an incarnated God, Hike, which is, you know, I saw being given to Zendaya, going back to that, thing is high as a motherfucker, that August the 22nd, 2022 timeline. As a matter of fact, I'm going to post a video later on showing how back then I had a spirit of the person who I got soul swapped with being downloaded into my body. Her name is supposed to be Ashford or Ashley Terrell, Renee Wellinger in that timeline. Anyways, with that being said, you know, last night, yesterday I had my father, you know, who's my connection with my Godhead. He's been the one going back to that August 22nd, 2022 timeline, across all timelines, but more so that one who's been assiduously trying to help me out as much as he can and put me back together while he, you know, like I said, I saw him in the hands of the Illuminati, really, Inez and all of them here. And with that being said, she's been, trying to steal every bit of my consciousness that she can, pull it from out of me. And, the only thing I have working with me, I'm just going to say it like this. My the highest self, this old Jewish white woman who's an ancestor by the name of, I'm trying to think of what her name is. It's on the tip of my tongue. Who's an ancestor of mine. She didn't really give a fuck. None of my the highest selves gave a fuck. Anytime you have to work with entity attachments to get your shit back or to make something happen, that means that your spirit team don't give a fuck. And so, they were combined with a woman by the name of Echeverry at one point. And it was a wetback. And I believe it's her. Holding them in their or his consciousness, tearing them up constantly, or Dubbock, I'm not sure. Connected to that Mike Hernandez, I'm trying to, I hate how this shit will try. I wish I could go back to the way I used to be, because I hate how this shit will try to regulate and monitor what I say. Shut the fuck up! And this is why in part I'm doing this video. They were getting shredded by this Maria Tavares, who's done taken over damn near 90% of my soul consciousness. And, I brought a mirror for the back here. Or it could have been a girl who I went to middle school with, who, from what I understand, it was St. James, St. Simon Peter, who stole a lot of my blessings. Yeah, I think it was, because I went to St. Paul the Apostle, which was majority black, and I enjoyed that school. Then I went to the other one where I had, a lot of problems, and that's because you got to watch them wetbacks. I'm going to say something right now, because of their origins, that's why I don't like to fuck with them people that much. They come from evil spirits, like Wetzicoto and all of that. Those are evil fucking spirits. And those motherfuckers, especially with black people, because we're very spiritually powerful. We're not just a blueprint, but we're the predecessors of this realm. They like to steal a lot of our shit, a lot of our powers. And all they have to do, because their energy signature, their energy resonates with nothing but negativity. Again, their creative guys, Wetzicoto, Tekaka, and Wakaka, and all that shit, they're so evil from what I learned. They're not even allowed to come into the spirit plane to pull their asses up. With that being said, when they die, the only one is saying the workday. And, like I said in another video, that motherfucker, she rules their oversoul consciousness. That's a topa. She shouldn't be allowed to exist. She should not be allowed to exist. Because unlike a Baron Samedi, who can act solely as your the highest self, he was trying to rescue in his soul consciousness the other night from Maria Tavares. I believe her lower self name is Elsie. I got the name. I think it's Serrano or Solano or Anahanda or something. Or Aranaho. Something like that. Those are some, them motherfuckers at 8704 Broadway. I'm gonna just keep fucking banging on their asses. Those are some evil motherfuckers. Anyways, with that being said, I feel something fucking with, every time I try to do a fucking video, get back to normalcy, they start fucking with me and they start fucking with my consciousness, especially when I tell certain truths, and that's that wetback. Anyway, she stole a lot of your boy's consciousness. In the middle of the night, I saw Anubis at certain points because this kind of sets up a portal. They got frequencies, I think it's 1.8 million that you can use to, because it breaks down 1135 hertz can do that too. Your molecules and breaks them up. But I saw Anubis. At one point, she was stealing his shit, breaking him up. There was somebody else, the Ars Goetia, my Ars Goetia. We all have the Ars Goetia in us. It's just like with the Keys of Solomon. You got 72 angels that you can call on. And we also have 72 demons we can call on. With that being said, Maria Tavares, because that's why I'm complaining, she came and stole all of that in the middle of the night. You can use 694 hertz, 695 hertz, trying to keep me from using certain frequencies here that can allow you to see what's going on through intimidation tactics. Like she kept trying to take out my whole soul consciousness and shit. And I keep trying to block it as much as possible. But the reason why I'm doing this video is because, I'm sitting here and I'm confused as fuck. It gets more and more confusing because I don't know what the fuck is going on. And it's usually Maria Tavares who be fucking with me really, really, really bad. With that being said, I was told I don't know what the fuck is going on. Something about I'm gonna get all your oh, even why I brought that wet bag up. Girl by the name of Bianca Zapata, who I was in the 4th grade with, all she did was touch my my ankle right there. And next thing I know, from what I understand, because I had a godhead, not my father, like I do now. In this timeline, black, my dad, and my mom, who's, this is how you know you got soul swap and something bad happened. Her higher self got taken out the spirit plane by the Illuminati, going back to that August 22nd, 2022 timeline. Or I think Maria Tavares. They got turned into real entities and shit with permission, from what I understand. My brother Kristen Williams. I even had a dream of New Orleans firefighters coming to help me. But from what I understand, it was really to try to see what the fuck is going on in that timeline. Because he got put, I even saw it in my soul consciousness, which is a record of everything that's going on in your life. That he got him and my family, because I kept seeing Kristen versus drug addiction, Carrie versus drug addiction. They got put under heavy spells of addiction, where what they call a screwdriver in the spirit plane would crush and crush and crush your consciousness to the point where if you didn't give in, you would die. I believe it was this entity that put him on him and put him in the roach realm later on.
This is a recording of a shamanic psychopomp session for Brian Napoleon Williams, who is the brother of Raven Williams and deceased of suicide. I began the session by going to my healing temple, my spiritual healing temple, and there I met the goddess Hecate, and she said to me, what's it this time? What's the trouble this time? And I explained to her, I said to her, there is a woman called Raven Williams and her brother committed suicide, and Raven believes that evil entities drove him to this suicide, and she wants me to help him and help his spirit move on. Then Hecate, from her belt, took this little pouch that has some divination stones and bones in it, and she threw the bones for divination, and she said, yes, he's indeed earthbound. And then she threw it again, and she said, he's in big trouble. Then I asked, can he be helped? And she threw the bones again, and she said, yes, but it will be difficult. Then I asked her to take me there, and then she opened a portal. We passed through, and we got into a kind of the dark demonic underworld. I recognized it because I've been to this place before, and so it's basically a demonic realm, or you could call it a lower astral. You could call it one of the seven hells. There are different regions of the lower astral. The deeper you go, the worse things get. And then we heard footsteps, and we quickly hid in a passageway. This was like a large cavern system, and it had many side passages, and it was kind of dimly lit, but I could see. And then we heard footsteps, and we backed into the side passage. And then a lot of dark beings came by, stomping their feet. They seemed like soldiers, like an army, and they were carrying spears, and they had armors on, made a lot of noise. I was glad that they didn't see us. And then from that side passage that we had backed into, at the back of it, there was a tunnel, and Hecate told me to follow her. We went down that tunnel, and we came to an area. There were a lot of holding cells, like prison cells, one next to the other, with metal bars, doors of metal bars in the front, very similar to a human prison, but kind of like in a dark dungeon. And in there were humans and other beings that were trapped there, and there was a lot of howling and crying and screaming. It was kind of noisy. We walked along this long corridor, and I was just focusing on finding Brian. I also have to tell you that after we got in the demonic underworld, I was completely gone for a moment, and I had to do 3 attempts to get this done. So I spent like 3 times as much time as I should have normally. This was a difficult case. Just getting there was really, really difficult, and staying conscious. Then we went down the hallway, looking at all these cells, looking for Brian, and I was repeating his name like a mantra, Brian Napoleon Williams, make sure that I'm being drawn to the right person. And then we had him, and also Hecate stopped and indicated, here it is, and I looked, and inside the cell I saw Brian, and he looked like on the picture that you had sent me, and he was kind of weakly saying, help. And then coming forward, he's reaching with his arms towards us, like, help me, and came walking towards us a few steps, and then he couldn't walk any further. And then I saw that he was chained, but he was chained in a very cruel way, because there were 2 chains, and they ended with hooks like at a butcher's shop, and these had been pushed through the skin on his back and shoulders, and kept him on the wall like that. And then Hecate waved her hand, and the door lock sprung open. We got inside the holding cell, and then Hecate said that she was going to hold Brian, and I should quickly remove these hooks from his flesh. And then we gave him something to bite on, and Hecate said that if he screams, we won't be able to make it out of there. And well, Hecate can, but not maybe me and him. And then he said he understood, and he nodded. And then I started to remove these 2 hooks, first on his right shoulder and then the one on his left shoulder. I saw that he was sweating, and he was struggling hard not to scream, but he knew that it was important that we get out of there, and I managed to remove them in a very smooth way, so that he had not so much pain. And then after that, he collapsed on the ground, and Hecate lifted him up again and said, "We have to leave immediately." And we got out of the cell, and she closed the door up so it wasn't so obvious. And then I said, "Can we teleport back to the healing temple now?" And Hecate said they had put up some magic, so it's impossible to teleport from this place. And we had to go back along all the cells, and I was just thinking, I hope that nobody's coming. I hope nobody's coming at this moment. Got back to the front of the corridor where we came from, and back into that little side chamber that we had backed into earlier on. And over there we checked, and the magic that was barring us from teleporting did not apply to that room. So we were able to teleport out of there and back into the healing temple. Then when we were in my healing temple, that's when Hecate opened the portal for Brian to move into the afterlife. But before he went through the portal, we had a conversation, and I asked him whether there was anything he wanted to say to you. And he said, "Thank you for saving me, sis." And then he said, "I love you." And then he said that, "I know that what I did was wrong, and I'm sorry. And I know that I have caused a lot of pain to other people, and I'm sorry about that." And he said, "I'm sorry that I cannot accompany you anymore, because I would like to stay with you in this life, but it's not possible anymore now." And he said, "And if this happened again, I wouldn't do this again. I regret that I've committed suicide, and I wish I hadn't done it, but it's too late now." And then I asked Hecate, "Can you tell me, for the sake of Raven, where he's going to go? Will he go to a good place?" And Hecate said, "Yes, the portal will lead him to a good place, a place of light and bright, and there's no suffering. And there he's going to be prepared for his next incarnation." And then Hecate said, "And tell Raven not to worry, because Brian and her will be together in another lifetime. And so the bond that is between you, the bond of love, is always going to be there, even in future lifetimes." And then Brian, hearing that, was very happy. He nodded, and he said that he will be better next time round. And I said, "I hope so." and then Hecate told him to step into the portal, and then the portal closed. It's possible that I forgot one or two things that were spoken, but that's what I remember now. And yeah, he's moved on. Nobody can torture him now, and he cannot suffer anymore. But he was having some very severe suffering because the bad spirits had trapped him. And not only had they trapped him, but they were actually tormenting him and really torturing him. So he was in a very, very bad place. I think this is the worst place, the person that was in the worst condition in the afterlife that I have done psychopomp work for. But he's moved on happily, okay? And the portal itself was like a swirling portal with quite bright lights, so I already knew it wasn't a bad portal, but I wanted Hecate to give you some idea where he's going, so that you can feel assured that things will be good for him from now on. And as he has just gone through the portal, usually the spirits will be away for 1 year and a day, and then afterwards they are free to move around. Don't know whether it applies in this case with the portal as well, but just so that you know. And I think that was a successful journey, but I had to try it 3 times. The other 2 times I went unconscious, then I fell asleep, then I lost a lot of time. Finally I've got it done. I'm really glad that it's done now and that it went so well, even though it was dangerous. Hope that helps you, and if any questions, then I'll answer them another time.
I don't give a fuck anymore. You know, these things are like, no, see, fuck you. Every single day it's like, shit the fuck. I'm hearing this wetback. It seems confusing and never ending. And you know, it's depressing. I feel this wetback bitch Maria Tavares within me, putting entity attachments all over. Like I gotta do something about I gotta do something about that evil ass shit, because this is too much. I would play 1715 or 1715 zero hertz frequency to try to get stuff back last night, and it would almost work against me because of how tricky it is to have something like that in your energy body and spirit body and be pulling it out into the astral plane. And trying to kill me off the Santa Muerte, who I remember, and I keep reiterating, made a deal with Tavares to steal me and Baron Samity's ancestral money. And I did a video, actually an article in the past, talking about wetbacks stealing our black magic. I feel this bitch in my energy body. That's how you know you've done gotten taken over doing this. I can't tell what the fuck is going on, what manipulation is going on anymore. You know, that's why I'm doing these videos. Because this is an evil fucking entity. And I got little roach entities that are trying to work with me as much as they can, but this is a fucking shame. Get your wetback ass out! I felt that bitch just leave my body just now. But anyways, I'm gonna say this right now. Them wetbacks are major fucking energy vampires. I'm not a big fan of them for a reason. That's why I got a Trump hat. That's why I got a MAGA shirt for a reason. It's something about their origin. Like I said, I saw in the spirit plane they come from. Not just evil spirits that hail from Betelgeuse. There was some war that happened where, you know, they ended up going underground. That's why they got distorted war faces that look like this. And all that shit, Wakkan and all that craziness. But also reptilians, they come direct from them. As a matter of fact, the demiurge is, you know, ours is Yodabel, who has the head of a lion, who's, you know, dignified and all of that, respectable. This is so fucking disgusting because every time I want to do a video talking the truth about my situation, I get confused. Confusion gets brought in. I hear this thing saying, is you gonna be walking you for the rest of your life because you didn't wait till 1 o'clock to give spiritual shit you should take for granted. This is just, I keep feeling this wetback. I never gave permission to this wetback to enter my body or to take my shit. That's why I'll never go to them for any spiritual work whatsoever. There's something wrong with them people. All this evil ass shit! I'm sorry, man. I have to fucking do an outburst because it's a shame what's going on. I heard in certain timelines I can't even put fucking pictures or decorate on my wall because, oh, say the word, they gonna come in. I was being told that by my fucking, it's a faggot ass Archangel Michael, a cracker that's supposed to be related to Zendaya. Going back to that August 22nd, 2022 timeline. That's why I let them get fucked up. Just do your job. Put me back together. And in timelines where I really would die, you know, from what I understand, the whole purpose is to keep me alive, to keep that, and not even so anymore. Motherfucker, well, I'm supposed to live until 86. But supposedly you keep that person in the timeline who took over my body alive. But I don't believe that. It's really to keep me alive till 86. I'm just tired of having my fucking consciousness fuck with like this and, you know, damn near brought the dead in, having shit that should be taken for granted, the rebuilding of your body. You know, being forced to twitch and I can't have a thought in my fucking head. You know, you get intrusive thoughts and that could fuck up your spirit team and, you know, this is what I want to talk about. And if I try to go back to trying to get energy work, they're going to be like, well, you made the video, so we can't do anything for you. This is ridiculous. I had my soul consciousness switch with these evil ass motherfuckers in the middle of the night and consciousness damn near. What is this moving around my fucking body, man? This is irritating. I can't even speak my fucking truths. I can't even show like spiritual jewelry off because of all this nonsense. I'm being told wait until what? The reason why, anyways, that wetback, oh yeah, their demon god daddy, Quetzalcoatl, he would shapeshift into a white man. That's why they worship white people to this day. You know, that's why all that black and brown shit, they can sit down with that somewhere. It's bullshit. You know, the god of everybody else who has a lion face, the Lion of Judah, think of that, Yoda Baal, who's, because the demiurge will have a human face as well as a dragon face. The witchmacalling of everybody else is Yoda Baal, has skin, has skin of bronze and hair of wool. That's black, and that's the god of everybody else. My consciousness, it's being interrupted by all this evil ass shit. So just bear with me. But anyway, all she did was this, and from what I understand, her higher self told her to do that. And next thing I know, my connection to the Godhead, which was a racist ass, crack ass daddy, it's going back to that Swedish past life. In that Swedish past life, he was actually very, very nice, and he wasn't racist at all. But in his next incarnation, where he was a preacher in the 70s, he was a very racist motherfucker. He gave permission for this wetback to steal my blessings. And from what I understand, going back to that August 22nd, 2022 timeline, she supposedly married with 2 kids, white dude, blonde hair and all that shit. She's making $300 million selling patents. You know, it kills me how the trajectory of my fucking life has gone because I had nothing but fucking evil spirits, starting with Billy Bailey, controlling shit. And I'm just gonna fucking say it. That's why I hate him to this fucking day. Not the original fucking person. That's why I didn't even respect or like voodoo. I fucked with Satanism when I was young. And I do it again. Was Billy Bailey. But I'm trying to figure out why you... It kills me. Got all this evil ass shit in my consciousness, man. I'm brilliant motherfucker, with a lot of spiritual power, being driven fucking schizophrenic. Not even, it's a death curse that masquerades as schizophrenia, which I'm suffering from. This is what I wanted to talk about. I heard one of them roach spirits talking about today, one of them spirits, saying, I was being shown that August 22nd, 2022 timeline, and most crushing was, I was talking to my brother Carrie over the phone, who in that timeline's to come today. Something happened, just like on May the 1st, 2024 with them evil ass motherfuckers. I saw the timelines for that and everything where they were trying to keep me from coming back into the world of the living. It's these wetbacks here, again at that 8704 Broadway Street, shop by 87 in Broadway. With that being said, I was shown those timelines. And I was shown how Zendaya and all of these people who are thriving and benefited off of me, as a sacrifice. I heard, look, she being told you can't drink, you can't do this. Meanwhile, these people out here who sacrificed are enjoying their lives, drinking, having fun, being worth a lot of money. They ain't got to scrabble like her. Or be mentally ill, seen as mentally ill as her. Really what I'm facing is a death curve. And going through hell. And they're able to take for granted what I should, which is the rebuilding of your energy and spirit body. Like I said, in one timeline where the threat is real and that bitch Tavares kept sick and Santa Muerte on me, I saw that with my eyes just now, like something else was trying to come through. It's that wetback ass entity. Like I say, that's a topa. She ain't like a Baron Samley. She never existed. She, her followers act as judge, jury, and executioner. As a result, she shouldn't be allowed to exist. And in that August 22nd, 2022 timeline, I learned, me and them little road spirits, my spirit team actually removed her from the Mexican oversoul consciousness on a soul consciousness level, and it made a big difference, and it was a lot nicer. You can actually petition God to remove her because she's not supposed to exist. But it just kills me. I'm hearing how in them timelines, I'm going through hell. And meanwhile, them people ain't got to... I'm supposed to lie in bed like an invalid. There's days where I'm like, I'm not even supposed to work out, which is ridiculous because it helps spiritually and physically to work out. I'm supposed to lie in bed like an invalid and have my body put back together. I had my consciousness stolen by her in Santa Muerte the other night, Maria Tavares, Inez, and Honda or something, I think her name. Or Ranaho and Honda, actually, I believe it is, the other night. And next thing I know, I'm being told I gotta wait. I can't use the restroom. I can't do shit. Unnecessarily. 5 hours to be fucking rebuilt. So I can get every fucking thing back. And so that my dad or something, my connection to my Godhead could get permission to do something. While these people sacrifice me, get to, run free. I wanted to buy paint supplies today. And make a paint of my ancestors. I can't even do that. I need to find this Maria Tavares' Achilles heel. They tried to take this bitch out, but my energy body is so fucked up, I can't. Harbor anything like that. But the rebuilding of your inner body, that's supposed to be something you should take for granted. And I can't drink. I don't smoke. I don't see the point. I've tried a couple of times and I just don't see it. In some cases, I'm forced to rely on it. Other folk, that's a shame. That's a shame because, I had that Swedish past life ancestor even say that, the daddy. You come from spiritual royalty. You know, my poor grandmother, they keep trying to stick that Santa birthday bullshit in her timelines in her next life in Louisiana. I think Grand Isle or something. That's a curse. We don't want that shit. Keep hearing these things. They don't speak, they don't say. Shut the fuck up! I can tell I'm not in the world of the living, man, and it's exacerbating. You supposed to sit here for hours for something you should take for granted. And then even after that, you can't do what you want to fucking do because you got all this evil ass shit. And from what I understand, I got all my spirit guides and shit, you know, looking, and they ain't doing shit. You know, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. Why y'all looking? Why y'all, you know, y'all attached to my entity attachments. You know what's going on. You can block that shit. Why aren't y'all doing anything? I heard at one point my higher to higher selves were getting paid to look the other way in the spirit plane while I end up a sacrifice for the people. I heard, you know, these motherfuckers' timelines in that August 22nd, 2022 timeline go back